Well, I met Chuck Norris about 20 years ago. I was invited to Los Angeles to meet with him and work out through a mutual friend of ours. And even though I'd been in the martial arts about 10 years at that particular time, it really opened up a whole new door of opportunity for me, because it opened up the doors for me to meet other people, other masters of other styles, to get in the door, and also to show my skill to credible, legitimate martial artists who were well known all around the world. And from there, it really stimulated me into pushing forward with my own education, with my own martial arts style, so to speak, and it really has vaulted me into all the awards and everything that I've been able to achieve since then. The World Martial Arts Center pretty much symbolizes my contribution to martial arts because of my extensive study in law enforcement, military. I have black belts also in judo, jiu-jitsu, aikido. I boxed, I kickboxed. I've done a lot of wrestling, studying a lot of weapons. I thought the World Martial Arts Center encompasses all those arts together. And I've tried to integrate those arts into one complete system to where one person is just not a good kicker, a good puncher, or a good grappler, but they're versatile in all the different areas of martial arts. And my whole background in martial arts has been to have no weaknesses in my martial arts style. As a police officer and also as a competitor, I basically looked at martial arts from a defensive standpoint. I studied so many different martial arts because I wanted to see what their strengths were so I wouldn't have any weaknesses. And I learned, an education from that was I was a Taekwondo fighter, and I went into kickboxing without any boxing experience. And I'd fought a guy who had had 47 boxing fights, and I had problems dealing with his hands. And so even though I won the match, the first thing I did was go to a boxing gym and learn to box, basically to learn how to counter all these movements. Same thing with wrestlers. When wrestlers come in, I want to know how to wrestle. I want to know how to grapple. So I basically studied all the martial arts to learn what their strengths were, so I would have the defense against these guys if I was ever confronted with them. So then over the course of the 30 years of my martial arts training, I've been able to achieve the belts, the certificates, and integrate the whole complete system into one. I'm really excited about doing this new video series for ESPY because for many, many years I've been wanting to really show the traditional forms from a different perspective. I pretty much was stimulated with the idea with my studies with George Dillman, with his Oyata theory. It opened up a new avenue of thinking for me, and from that I was able to take my traditional forms that I learned from my traditional master and look at them from a different perspective. And through hours and hours and months and now years of experimentation and study, I've been able to maybe come up with some of the real self-defense maybe meanings that was originally intended for these movements. Because I realized that 300 or 400 years ago, people didn't fight like machines or mechanical, just like the forms look. So the movements must be in there. And once I started learning to shift my body weight with the judo, the jiu-jitsu, and the aikido movements, and then I started combining the karate techniques with them, it all started falling into place. And I've looked at every single movement in all the forms and try to find some self-defense meaning, or maybe even 3 or 4 self-defense meanings. I try to interpret my martial arts techniques like tools in a toolbox. There may be 100 tools or more in that toolbox. Some of those tools you can use for a number of reasons, but there may be some specific tool that is used just for a specific purpose. And martial arts techniques are tools of your trade. And so you need to be able to use all these techniques at any given point. Some you can use a number of ways, some you maybe need for one specific situation. So I wanted to do this series, and I know there's a lot of traditional martial artists out there, and even though I've integrated and I've compilated my style of martial arts with all the other arts, I still, my true base is Tong Sudo, and I've come full circle to try to explain what I've explored and found out by integrating the other martial arts in my style. United Fighting Arts Federation, the UFAF, stands for a compilation of all the styles that we put together. Chuck Norris, even from his earliest days, was one of the first Americans to innovate all the different martial arts in his fighting system. He started out in Taekwondo in Korea in the Air Force in the early 1960s. He come back, he trained in Shotokan to learn the hand techniques. He was one of the first to incorporate also Judo into his system. And back 30 years ago, that was really unheard of. So he started integrating and combining other martial arts styles as much as 30 years ago. Now the United Fighting Arts Federation has grown worldwide. Our whole system is comprised of the basic Tong Sudo system of Taekwondo, but we also do Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, Aikido, the Brazilian style of Jiu-Jitsu, and weapons, and we've encompassed the best techniques from the best martial artists all over the world. So that's basically what that stands for, is that we've united all the best arts from all the best technicians all over the world to make our system, you know, one of the best in the world. Well, you know, the kids are our future. You know, and the backbone of our schools nowadays are children 3 years old and up. And if you can send them a message of discipline, respect, loyalty, integrity, and they grow up with strict rules and respecting other people, they're going to grow up and become very successful in life. And that's one reason I've stayed in the martial arts as long as I have, is because I get self-satisfaction out of helping children, and I have a very good track record after teaching about 30,000 people. Very few of these people have ever turned out to be in trouble, have not gone on to be very successful in life, and I feel very good about that. But the children are our future, and martial arts is one of the best ways to very early on to teach them, you know, all the secret words. There's not enough love, there's not enough respect, there's not enough compassion, and a lot of these children nowadays really need all that because, you know, they're facing a tough world, and I think martial arts is the answer.